The following is a presentation of the Belly Up Sports Media Network.
I saw you bopping along.
Oh yeah,
we
were getting after it.
You were making up lyrics too, weren't you?
No, I was just going along with the guitar part. I was going.
Well, everyone, welcome to No Credentials Required, where you don't need a press pass to talk sports. We are proudly presented by Belly Up Sports. My name is Ryan McCarthy. I'm one of the hosts of the show. To my right is a man who will soon release his diss track on Drake.
Yeah,
That's Drake coffee cakes. That is.
That's
Dustin
right.
Henry.
That's
Dustin,
right.
how are we doing today?
Hate the Drake, doing all right. I'm having a great. If Uncle Al's watching, he definitely got that one. That's a Seinfeld reference. If you haven't watched Seinfeld, go back and watch it. I'm doing well today. I'm ready. I'm ready to react. I've been waiting for this show. I've been waiting for your thoughts. We texted back and forth a little bit during the game, but I'm not going to lie. It had a different feel for me this year because it just wasn't right not having everybody around. I've been doing the Super Bowl party a long time, but the stomach virus I got a couple of weeks ago put an end to that. So here we are. I'm happy. I'm ready to go, ready to talk sports with you. How are you today, sir?
Doing pretty good. I've had an expensive couple days replacing a battery in my car, but that's neither here nor there. Of course, as soon as I file my tax return, my car doesn't start. So,
oh no.
So that's fun. But otherwise, yesterday I enjoyed my day off. A nice relaxing day. Did a little bit with snowman in the morning, which is on the No Credentials Required channel. But otherwise, it's been a decent couple days. Went back to work today, and nothing's changed. And I have a short week this week, and then it's we're piling on. We're just gonna pile on till April when I go down south and to a wedding. So I'm excited for that. But in the meantime, we got some pretty cool stuff for you. We're gonna recap Super Bowl 2020, Super Bowl 59. My goodness, I'm old. Super Bowl 59, and we're also gonna talk about our favorite athletes to ever wear the number 12. But before we do that, just want to remind you about our social channels, which are right here. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. Just search for No Credentials Required. Hit the subscribe button, hit the follow button, hit the like button whenever you see videos, and also follow us on bellyupsports.com. On the podcast side, subscribe to the podcast wherever you listen to podcasts, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Spreaker, Amazon Music, iHeart, TuneIn, Pandora, and now YouTube. And you can also get yourself notified on Twitter. I still refuse to call it X, and on YouTube. That way you know when new videos go up, new show announcements go up. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, all that stuff. On the podcast side, especially, also rate, review, comment. 5-star rating would be helpful. A review on a podcast platform where you can leave the review and comment. It's also a live show on our YouTube channel, our Facebook and Twitter and our Twitter pages. Tuesdays at 6:30, although we had to push it up to 6:45 because I had to make a quick update to my computer. That's neither here nor there. And on Saturday mornings for the Saturday brunch, which will be coming back Saturday morning, 10 o'clock Eastern. We've got a special guest. Our friend of the show, Drew Willingham, will be back with us to talk about the week in sports, a little bit of NFL, a little bit of Major League Baseball, what have you. But yeah, I mean, if you wouldn't mind, I know. This sound always when I'm feeling a little bit cash poor, this sound always makes me feel better. And you know what time it is?
It's chime time.
It certainly is. Got some comments in the comment section already. Julie from Michigan saying hello, gentlemen. She also says I will research which line wore number 12. You can also well, don't forget, Julie. You've also got other sports. In Detroit, you got the Tigers, you got the Red Wings, you got the Pistons. Pretty sure some notable athletes wore number 12 there with those teams. But in the meantime, we got a lot to talk about, which in regards to this Sunday's Super Bowl 59, which took place. We're all hoping for a really good game, but it turns out the Eagles took control early, took control often, and the final score doesn't reflect what we witnessed. 40 to 22. At one point, it was 34-0 in favor of the Eagles. But Dustin, let's talk about this game. We texted back and forth about the game, what we thought, and I just want to get your quick thoughts. I just want to get your thoughts about the game going on, what happened there. What happened in New Orleans?
I mean, I'll keep it short and sweet. I know everybody out there watching is laughing right now because I have a problem doing that. But I will say my pick was completely wrong. I thought that the Chiefs were somehow going to manage to win this because that's what they do 9 times out of 10. But it was clear from the word go. The Eagles, I have issues. I believe Jalen Hurts was named MVP of the game, which, you know, he did enough. But to me, the start with the Eagles' domination can be summed up in one unit: their defense, specifically their pass rush. That front four, Vic Fangio had them going. That front four was ridiculous. They sacked Patrick Mahomes 6 times. They were in his face the entire game, and they did that without blitzing once. Now, I was watching the game, I actually saw more of the game than I usually do because the only downside of having my party is I'm usually more focused on hosting or talking with people. So, with the exception of the Seahawks versus the Broncos and the Seahawks versus the Patriots, I'm not usually totally locked into the Super Bowl, but I was this year. And I mean, it was clear from the jump. The Eagles were the better team. They were in Patrick Mahomes' face, and you said it on the show, Ryan, on our preview. You said they would have to force the Chiefs to turn the ball over, which the Chiefs don't normally do. Well, here it is two picks and also a fumble that the Eagles defense forced. So they did what they needed to do. Patrick Mahomes looked anemic in this game for most of it. A lot of, like you said, the score does not reflect what actually happened. The Chiefs scored in garbage time, effectively. I mean, the Eagles reserves were in there for one of the touchdowns. Just an unbelievable performance by the Eagles, and they did it without Saquon. Saquon was really not that much of a factor in this game. He did have that one falling backwards catch, but he wasn't a big factor. But to me, the Eagles defense was the star of the show for this one, Ryan. And with that, I did notice, even my sister texted me. She said, all they're talking about is Patrick Mahomes. This is ridiculous. And I told her, I said, I think part of it is they're trying to convince themselves that he can come back, that it's going to be a good game. But the Eagles showed they outclassed the Chiefs in this one. The Chiefs looked befuddled. And with that, I turn it over to you.
Yeah, I have to wonder if Tom Brady up in the booth was having a little bit of schadenfreude in regards to people talking about Patrick Mahomes replacing him as the greatest of all time, potentially. And it's like, sorry, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
Had to have a little bit of schadenfreude in regards to that. Before I get to my thoughts, Julie in the comment section says, I only know football and baseball, though. Come on. Come on. You got to diversify your sports, my lady. She also says, I did love a good Chiefs beatdown. Wait. Hold on. You said you were boycotting the Super Bowl, Julie.
Uh-oh. Ryan's calling you out here.
I wish I had that New Day throwing the pancakes at the Miz saying, shame! Because I'll throw that pancake at her right now.
Well, she can't be held to the fire too much. Sometimes the pull of football is just too great, Ryan.
It truly is. It truly is. Ah, busted. That's right. Dude. So I have a lot more. I think I have a lot more thoughts than Dustin does in regards to this game, but I'll try to keep them short. But if I meander, so be it.
Yeah.
So I know people had the narrative of of the fix being in for the referees with in regards to the Kansas City Chiefs. And I was starting to believe it on the first series of the game.
Yeah.
4th and 2, Eagles went for it. AJ Brown with that beautiful catch, which was basically a duplicate of what they did against the Commanders in the NFC Championship game when they went for it on 4th and 3 and got a 20-plus yard gain out of that. Same exact play, except pass interference, offensive pass interference. I'm going.
Yeah.
Hey, look at the replay. They're hand fighting.
Yeah, that's going to go on. You can't call that in a big game like that. We both agreed. You said it was BS. I said it was ticky-tacky. We both were in the ballpark. And friend of the show, Cool McCain, he was like, "Here we go." I saw on Facebook, he said first BS call. I commented under it. I said, "I agree."
Yeah. But you kind of saw a makeup call on the second drive with that unnecessary roughness penalty that, again, on replay, didn't look like it was helmet-to-helmet contact on that hit. And the ball was also over Dallas Goedert's head.
Yeah,
so
not
it was
a catchable ball.
It was kind of a makeup call. I did post a clip on my Twitter account, at whoisryanmcc, by the way, if you want to follow me on Twitter, at whoisryanmcc. I posted a clip of Coach Yost yelling at the referee named Titus during the semifinal of the Virginia State semifinal championship, where the fix was in. It's the referee and says, "I'll go to the papers. I'll have you all arrested. Dig your own grave." And then it says, "Defense on me."
Oh man, we definitely that might be a little preview for No Ticket Required. We might have to add that movie to the list.
Maybe. Yeah, we've got a couple of recommendations. I mean, the one your sister did recommend, Steve Biscuits. So
oh yeah, she's already been
list.
in my ear about that. She's excited for the summer movie series.
Yeah, and well, also with both penalties, I was kind of shocked because the NFL has that expedited officials review. So, tag along has joined the chat. They have that expedited officials review that can overturn. They can overturn penalties or overturn calls. And I'm actually kind of surprised that there's been no lobby for the coaches to have a coaches challenge in regards to penalties. You see that in the Canadian Football League. I don't know if they do it in the United Football League. I think they do it in Arena Football or AF1 or whatever it's called now. But they don't have it in the NFL. So I'm kind of shocked that there's no system where the coaches can challenge a penalty, like challenge an offensive pass interference or a defensive pass interference, or they challenge it. Hang on a second here. Come here, buddy.
Yeah.
Come here.
He's getting adventurous.
My sister's not here. That's why he's getting adventurous.
Yeah. For the audio listeners, show mascot Taglong decided to join us, and he was exploring. So Ryan had to.
He was exploring, and he was also you can probably hear in the background. He's getting as passionate as I was in regards to the quote fix being in. So I gave him his wet food. I put him down in my sister's room to hang out, but he's just
he just wants
today.
He wants to be on the show. He was watching the game. He was watching the game. I saw.
He's now on the floor, just kind of hanging out. But anyway, go back to the topic at hand. The Eagles, after that penalty, after both those penalties, they just scored again and again, and on defense too. And with Kansas City, their defense, we talk about how their defense is is just as good as the Eagles. They were so keyed in on stopping Saquon Barkley, and they did an effective job of doing that.
Yes, they did.
But they were so keyed in on stopping Saquon Barkley that Jalen Hurts was allowed to cook. And this, you could tell this was the kind of a revenge game for Jalen Hurts. He'll never admit it. But you could kind of tell he was still he's a bit sour from the result of 2 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
The Eagles lost to the Chiefs in Phoenix. You can kind of tell he wanted this game, and he wanted it real bad. He not only had a couple of great passes, that long touchdown pass to, I think it was Devontae Smith.
Yes.
He had that one touchdown, the pass that led to their first touchdown to Jahan Dotson. He not only created plays with his arm, but he also created plays with his feet, which
Yeah.
he's known to do. And I heard this talk about Jalen Hurts regressing. Jalen Hurts' game has gone down. Look, you bring in a guy like Saquon Barkley, who is going to be a difference maker in this game, and he was the talk of the town. I mean, he won Offensive Player of the Year this year.
Yeah.
And by the way, congratulations to Saquon Barkley for the most rushing yards, period, in a season between regular season and postseason and Super Bowl. Most rushing yards in NFL history. Congratulations.
Yeah. Amazing season. Amazing season. But I mean, Jalen Hurts, as you pointed out in this game, he took it personally, and he kind of said, "I know I threw subtle shade that he was named MVP because I felt the defense performed that well, but it wasn't like Jalen was a slouch. He had 71 rushing yards, I believe, and that TD, so that would have made him the leading rusher for the Eagles, correct?
Yes, it would have made him the leading rusher for the Eagles, and you could argue Josh Sweat. 2.5 sacks. He was deserving an MVP. Cooper DeJean.
Oh, yeah.
With that interception, with that pick six.
It was on his birthday.
On his birthday. Yeah, he and Saquon share the same birthday, which is pretty cool. I will say this, though. I saw a tweet. Someone had saved a screenshot of it. And it was some draft analyst saying that Cooper DeJean was overrated.
Oh.
Well, I gotta say to that author of that article, Cooper DeJean has a Super Bowl ring. You don't. So I got also handed to the Eagles defense too. They played the perfect game in terms of stopping the Chiefs offense, because we've seen what the Chiefs offense has been prone to do.
Yeah.
They didn't score 30 points until the AFC Championship game, so they've been struggling with the points, but they get the first downs when they needed to.
Yeah.
And you figured, okay, it's 24-0 after halftime. Let's see what the Chiefs can do. Let's see what kind of life they have in them. The Eagles defense just kept their foot on the gas pedal.
Yeah.
Which was something to see. And also, I'm gonna throw a little shade towards the Miami Dolphins here.
Oh, man.
Vic Fangio was their defensive coordinator last year, and they kicked him to the curb. And winds up in Philadelphia. I wouldn't say transforms that defense, but he has the players where they need to be. Yeah. They bring in Zach Bond from New Orleans as a free agent on a 1-year deal, just to kind of see what he can do, fit perfectly in that defense. They draft Cooper DeJean. Look what he does.
Yeah.
That front four, and Nick, you mentioned Dustin
Carter. Yeah.
Jalen Carter. Yeah, he was. I guess his draft stock dropped because of supposed character issues or whatnot. He's turned into a model citizen in Philadelphia, and he's with that team that has just been so competitive over the last couple seasons with Nick Sirianni as our head coach. Who, by the way, you don't see him and Nick Foligno in the same room together from the Blackhawks. You've never seen them in the same room together. So the Eagles basically orchestrated the perfect game plan on offense and on defense. Kansas City had absolutely no answer on either side of the ball. And once again, in New Orleans, I don't know what it is about New Orleans, but we've seen some of the biggest routes in Super Bowl history happen in New Orleans, whether it be at Tulane Stadium in the 1970s or the early 1970s into the late 1970s and onward at the Superdome. I think at Super Bowl 12, Dallas beat Denver 27-10. The Oakland Raiders beat the Eagles, interestingly enough, by the same score in 15. Super Bowl 22, the Super Bowl shuffle, the Chicago Bears, being the absolute tar out of being the absolute breaks off the Patriots.
Mm-hmm.
4 years later, 49ers beat the Broncos 55-10 in that route. And now this game. I mean, a couple close games afterwards, but we had that infamous, also had the infamous power outage from the Ravens 49ers
Oh,
game.
yeah.
That was a runaway too until that point.
Mm-hmm.
And then it got close towards the end. But this game was, in the words of one of the guys I follow on Facebook on social media, his name is Zick Fracassi. He's on Rod Peterson's show every once in a while. He's on Sirius Radio. He says it got very late, very early for the Kansas City Chiefs, and you can tell this was the Eagles' day.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I remember texting you a couple of things. One of them I said a 28-3 is not happening here.
No,
And then I threw some not so subtle shade because you said, yeah, because the Eagles defense is not going to take their foot off the gas. And then I think I responded, yes, and also Dan Quinn is not coaching either one of the teams involved because that's what happens. He was head coach of the Falcons when that happened. And let's not forget the Super Bowl before where the Seahawks blew the lead against the Patriots. It was his defense.
Mm-hmm.
It was his defense.
Yeah.
So, I mean, but you were right. The Eagles defense, they had their foot on the Chiefs from the word go, and they did not let up at all because,
No.
and I think it's an ultimate sign of respect too. They know the caliber of the team they were facing. They know who Patrick Mahomes is. They know what kind of coach Andy Reid is. They know what Steve Spagnuolo can do on defense, because the big positive for the Chiefs, as you mentioned, is they held Saquon Barkley in check, but I think at their peril. They let other things go because they were so focused on containing Saquon. But if they didn't put their focus there, who knows what he would have done. The Eagles just have so many weapons everywhere. And I do have to say, he talks a lot sometimes, but CJ Gardner-Johnson, did you see a tweet that he shared today?
No, but let me pull it up since I have it open.
It was a tweet from 2023, and he said, "We play this game on real grass. That defensive line dominates that offensive line. I'm sorry." And then it turns out here we are a couple of years later, and that's what happened. That's what happened. Now, some of the players involved are different, but it's just crazy that he put that out there. And in 2023, I think was the date on the tweet. And here we are 2 years later, and he was right. That defensive line, they ate all game. The Chiefs couldn't get anything going to stop them.
Yeah. And you want to talk about some pettiness. Kansas City Chiefs fans, speaking of CJ Gardner Johnson, his mom has a restaurant in Florida, and apparently some Chiefs fans have gone to Yelp and left her 1-star reviews and negative reviews because of
that's just terrible.
Sore losers. Losers. The sorassery is real, Dustin.
Yeah, that's terrible. That's terrible. And that's we want to be one of the best things about the internet, you and I. We try to be positive about things, lighthearted joking. But things like that are some of the worst qualities of the internet. Don't go trash somebody's business because your team lost in the Super Bowl.
I know. And so many people probably will never go to Florida and will never go to that restaurant. So why? What? I know people have the right to do it, but at the same time, the saltiness is just inappropriate.
Yeah. Do you not have better things to do with your life? I guess not.
Nope. Other than crying your beer and your barbecue and your excellent barbecue. All right, before we go to the next segment, let's go back to the comments section. Julie's saying we love tag-along content. Yes, we do. Absolutely. She says, I didn't watch the whole game, though. I feel that should count for something. We still watched. You still watched. Shame. She says, CJ GJ is a tool, though. I didn't appreciate his comments regarding his time in Detroit. Well,
Yeah, he
oh
talks
well.
too much.
He
No,
does talk a
no
lot,
doubt.
but
But
he does talk a lot, but
yeah.
now he's Super Bowl champion, so let's
Mhm.
can't deny that fact. All right, let's talk about the commercials, the good, the bad, the meh. I find a lot of meh.
Yeah, a lot of them. A lot of them. Honestly, a lot of them don't even warrant mentioning. There weren't that many memorable ones.
No.
Um, and I like the message behind the Snoop Dogg and Tom Brady commercials, but I also felt that they were just kind of two weird picks to go together. Snoop Dogg and Tom Brady. I didn't get it. Like I said, I like the message, but maybe the approach could have been a little, I don't know, choose somebody else other than Tom Terrific with his Rolex there.
Mhm. His
But
$600,000 watch.
yeah, yeah, but to me, and then I'll hand the reins over to you. But to me, the I did like the Dunkings making a return.
That commercial was too long though.
It was too long, and also the Bill Belichick edition. I don't. Again, the last one had the magic. They were trying. They went too far this time. But I will say that my favorite two commercials. There were two standouts. One, Billy Crystal, Meg Ryan, when Harry met Sally, when it was the Hellman's Mayo commercial. I like that one. And then Sydney Sweeney's over there. She says, "I'll have what she's having." I like, but also Billy Crystal. He got me with "This one's real." He said, like in the middle of the commercial. That one got me. And then the second one for me is the Mustache Pringles commercial. I liked that one. That one got me a little bit. But for the most part, there were no great ones here, Ryan. How
No.
do you feel about it?
And you can tell that there was no J-Lo in the Dunking sequel commercial.
Yeah, yeah.
Just almost as many rings as Tom Brady. Uh,
Oh man,
it's true. She's
going after J-Lo here.
6 divorces. Our guy Tom Brady's got 7 Super Bowl rings. So
Yep, yep. Oh man.
facts are facts.
Hmm.
Yeah, for me, a lot of meh. The Bud Light commercial. Here's the thing about Super Bowl commercials now. You can watch them days before the Super Bowl
Yeah.
commercials air, which is kind of a bummer because such a cultural event. When I remember being a kid,
Hmm.
being an adult, I looked forward to seeing the commercials.
Yeah.
That was one of the highlights of watching the Super Bowl because you didn't know which company was going to come out and just absolutely just make you laugh, make you think, make you want to buy their product. I mean, there's some very, very notable commercials that get stand up in my mind. The HP commercial, was that HP or was it EMC that came up with a commercial about about hurting cats? That might have been it was some software company or was it SAP? I can't remember what it was, but I remember that commercial because yeah, trying to collect data is like trying to herd cats. Then you get the Doritos commercials with
Oh yeah,
with
Doritos were always classic.
with Ali Larder, the 3D commercials, Coca-Cola commercials, but Budweiser.
Oh, of course. Who could forget that?
The
And then,
Bud Bowl. Bring
yes,
back the Bud Bowl.
that's
Come
what I was going to
on.
say. The Bud Bowl. Remember that?
With
Yeah.
rookie quarterback Bud Dry.
Yeah. 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 And remember, because I think this was a Super Bowl debut as well, too. But Ryan, Terry Tate, office linebacker. I think that was the debut.
That was probably one of my favorite commercials, Super Bowl commercials ever.
Oh,
Terry
man.
Tate. I dressed as him the following Halloween at work. We had a costume contest, and I had to put my old football jersey on. I put slacks on. I put a pair of shoes on, and I was Ryan McCarthy, office linebacker.
I love the
wouldn't say
one
in
part
place.
he's yelling at the one. I mean, that whole thing, he's yelling at the one person. He's like, "You forgot to file the cover sheet on your TPS report, Richard." And then somebody walks by and he's like, "Hey, Janice."
You mother.
Yeah. I love that.
But yeah, these series of commercials were just they were under. I was hoping for a comeback in some
Yeah.
ways of the Super Bowl commercial, because some of the Super Bowl commercials have just been awful over the last couple of years, and
Yeah.
there were still some underwhelming ones. There's a couple ones I liked. I liked the Dodge Ram commercial with the guy telling the Goldilocks story, with him in the scenes with the Goldilocks and the Bears. The one commercial I was really disappointed in with the preview, I had a preview for it, was Uber Eats.
Oh man.
Because you had the teaser for Uber Eats. You had Matthew McConaughey dressing up as Mike Ditka saying Bears, the Bears. Duh. I was thinking, okay, this is gonna be great. It's gonna be Matthew McConaughey in a commercial as Mike Ditka plugging Uber Eats, and it was just like this whole long, strewn out, minute-long commercial about the history of football and how it relates to eating. And it's like, man, and then that one little 5-second clip of Matthew McConaughey as Mike Ditka telling Refrigerator Perry, "We're gonna call you the fridge."
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. No, it wasn't great. And also, to your point, Ryan, there was nothing new in that. They've been doing commercials about, oh, football it's just an excuse to get you to eat. That's been their shtick the whole season.
Yeah.
So to get to the big game and then just do the exact same thing, but with a couple different pieces, no, it doesn't have the impact.
No. As your Uncle Al says in the chat, the Uber Eats ad was a nothing burger. Exactly.
Yes.
It delivered nothing. It delivered nothing as an Uber Eats, as the delivery. It delivered nothing but a nothing burger. But yeah, nothing really notable. And Nike? All right, Nike. Let's have a conversation. We need to read the room, buddies. Okay? Look, we don't follow women's sports in this program. If we talk about it, it's something cultural, like last year's WNBA and the NCAA semifinal that was here with Caitlin Clark and the phenomenon that she was, and currently still is, still is. But we're also having Angel Reese shoved in our face with the Angel Reese's Puffs, and now she's got her own McDonald's meal. She's not that great of a basketball player. I'm sorry, but like Nike's still acting, and my ladies, forgive me for saying this, but Nike still acts like women's, like female athletes are still oppressed. No, that's not the point. No, if anything, women's sports is bigger and better than ever. Like Caitlin Clark, women's hockey is starting. Women's professional hockey is starting to take off. We've got female athletes in the NCAA making bank. Livy Dunn. We've got all these athletes who are out there just, we've got our attention, ladies, but Nike's still acting like it's the 1980s or 1970s. It's like, guys, can we stop? Like read the room, guys. Come on.
Yeah, I mean, I think I will say I think there's some more work to be done, but to your point, it is not. Women's sports has come so far that it's not. The tone of that commercial was like it overdid it. It overdid it. Are there some gaps that still need to be closed? Yes, I'm not arguing that. But to your point, a lot of progress has been made, and there have been sports like women's tennis surpassed men's tennis a long time ago, in my opinion. Same with the
Williams sisters.
And same with the soccer team. No one would. I think no sane person would argue that the men's team is better than the women's national team, because it's not the case. The women have dominated. So, there are certain areas where women's sports does much better than male sports in the ratings and also in the results on the field. So I think there is some more that can be done. There's always more that can be done. But to your point, the tone of Nike's ad was over the top.
Yeah, it was a little self-serving for them. Let's put it that way. It's like,
that's what every ad is.
These women wear our shoes, and they're going to yell at you about how not to act. And it's like, Where have you guys been the last decade and a half? Come on. Oh, and your Uncle Al says, Caitlin Clark bar.
That's there you go. We'll give you that. We'll give you that pun.
Salted caramel.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, these commercials are kind of underwhelming. The NFL commercial about women's flag football was okay.
Mhm.
Realistically, though, in the real world, she would have been that flag would have come off that belt right away.
I'll tell you, I would not be able to evade anyone in flag football.
I'm quick, but I'm big, but I'm agile. Let's just put it that way. All right, we're gonna take a quick commercial. We're gonna take a quick commercial break. Our mandated commercial break. When we come back, talk about the halftime show. We'll also talk about our favorite athletes to wear number 12, and a little bit of a show announcement. So stay tuned. Stand by for more. No credentials required.
Righteous Felon Craft Jerky is the official jerky of Belly Up Sports. For over a decade, Righteous Felon Craft Jerky has led the American meat snack revolution by concocting delicious, adventurous, U.S.-sourced jerky recipes for uncompromising carnivores across the country. With 15 different flavors to choose from, Righteous Felon has all jerky lovers covered, and by using promo code BELLYUP, you will get 15% off your purchase at righteousfelon.com. Do your taste buds a favor today and rip into a bag of Righteous Felon jerky.
That's right. If you scroll on the bottom of the screen, Righteous Felon Craft Jerky. It's excellent stuff. I've been munching on it since I got my new order about 2 weeks ago. I still have a couple beef sticks left. I still got a couple of packets of the beef jerky, the crafted jerky. I had some OG hickory today. I had one of the OG hickory beef sticks, and it'll do in a pinch when it comes to a snack. High protein, low sugar, 20 grams of protein in every 2-ounce package of Righteous Felon Craft Jerky. But that's not just the craft jerky. You also get the turkey jerky, get the African-inspired air-dried biltong, got the beef sticks, which I mentioned, which unlike other beef sticks you see out there in the convenience stores, it's 100% beef. Not like some of these other beef sticks that are supposed beef sticks. Primary ingredient is pulverized chicken.
That's shameful. It's shameful.
Shameful.
And I'll bet you Jim's not even that slim either.
No, I bet he's bigger than me. But in addition to the craft jerky, the turkey jerky, the biltong, the beef sticks, they also got the Wild Ranger dog treats. Dustin can attest. They are puppy approved.
Yes, they are. They are Pickles approved specifically, which he will be staying with me for a few days as his mom and dad have to go. They're going on a little anniversary vacation. So Pickle Man will be staying with me, and I am going to, after the show, I'm going to order again and re-up my supply so that he has some to munch on while he's at my house. And he's gonna love it because he loved the Wild Ranger dog treats. I think I got him beef and duck flavored, and so I'll try some of the other flavors that they have there. And also I need to order some stuff for myself because I have been reaching far too much for the bag of Doritos when I need a quick snack, or the bag of Dots pretzels, which once I open Dots pretzels, I eat the whole bag. Dots, if you would like to sponsor us, we can have some talks. But Righteous Felon is a much better option for you. If you get that snack hankering, reach for some of that, and I need to re-up my supply so that I can make better decisions snacking, and it'll fill me up better too.
Yes, it will. In that late afternoon snacking crave, get yourself some Righteous Felon Craft Jerky. Get yourself some of that stuff. Save yourself 15% off your order with promo code BELLYUP at checkout. But it's not just a promo code you can use. You also get free and fast shipping with every order over $50. Combine the promo code and free shipping, you get even more savings at righteousfelon.com. Use promo code BELLYUP at checkout for 15% off your order. All right, we're gonna move on to the Super Bowl halftime show featuring Kendrick Lamar. And we texted back and forth on this, Dustin. And we'll preface this, and we're gonna preface this, all right? Hip hop, rap, especially this age, of this generation, none of us really pay attention to, none of us really listen to. I mean, I love myself some 90s hip hop, some Tupac, some Biggie Smalls, rest in peace, Naughty by Nature. Love that. Great stuff there. But today's hip hop and rap and hip hop, where none of us really follow it a whole lot.
Yeah, I mean, I'm largely, like you said, it's not my style. That doesn't mean that I don't recognize talent and I don't, I'm not going to sit here and disparage artists because it's proven that once you reach a certain age, the music that you grew up with and entered into at a certain age, that becomes your default. And as you become older, sonically, there's actual research that backs this up. Sonically, newer things just don't appeal to you. You're less likely to pick up certain things. So I don't want to come off like I'm throwing stones at Kendrick Lamar, because I recognize his artistry and some of his lyrical content, and I understand that to a younger generation that is not me, he's one of the best out there doing it right now. And I think that's the point that I think that everybody needs to remember, okay? Because I saw a comment on the internet today that I enjoyed, and it basically said something to the effect of, I should have screenshotted it so I could credit the person, but they said, how about we need to remember that music can be enjoyed or disliked by people, but we don't need to. The internet has built this need for us to comment on every single thing in here. But to me, there were other messages. There are people that are breaking this performance down for the artistry and all the little things that he had in there. But I picked up on one of the cues. I'm not going to get into what it was here, but if you know anything about the beef between Drake and Kendrick, a lot of what he used the platform for, undeniably, was to just bury Drake on a massive stage. I know there were I watched some breakdowns on it. There were some other things in there that I didn't catch. I caught some there were some messaging, there was artistry there. There's no denying that, but this was not for me. This was not, I'm not familiar with Kendrick Lamar's stuff, and I'm not the demographic that Apple Music was going for with this halftime show. And I recognize that, but I just would like some more variety. And I'm gonna do my best not to come off as an old man yelling at clouds here. Not everything has to be for
Get
me.
off my lawn!
Yeah, not everything has to be for me. Okay,
No.
I understand, and I get it. I am a middle-aged Caucasian man. Okay, but I would like, personally, a little more variety in the Super Bowl halftime shows again. When they were doing different acts, I didn't always like the act, but I felt that there was some variety. I feel like the last few halftime shows have been a little one-notish for me, or maybe it's just that the artist wasn't in my pocket, so there wasn't as much for me to cling on to. But even the J-Lo and Shakira halftime show, I'm not huge fans of either of them, but I was impressed that both of them were out there still doing it at the level that they were doing it, and it was something a little different. Or what about the old medley shows, Ryan? Remember from, I think it was maybe 2004 or so, and I realize I'm going back, but Joe Perry from Aerosmith was in there. I think all of Aerosmith was in there, and it was Britney Spears, Justin Timberlake. It was kind of a mixing of old artists and new ones. So, and honestly, I couldn't understand a lot of what Kendrick was saying, and I wanted to kind of tune in to this, but I've rambled on long enough. But I recognize that not everything has to be for me, but personally, it wasn't my favorite halftime show, but there's no denying that there was artistry there and that he did a lot of messaging and expressions, but a lot of the messaging was just destroying Drake on national TV.
Yeah, so the Super Bowl you're referring to with Aerosmith was Super Bowl 35. It was them and NSYNC,
Okay.
along with
Okay.
Britney Spears, Mary J. Blige, and Nelly.
Yeah. Yeah, which I wasn't a huge fan of Nelly at the time. Mary J. Blige, I mean, anybody with ears can realize she can sing, man. But I
got
just
pipes.
liked that. That's one that sticks out to me because it was a bunch of different styles coming together.
Yeah, I mean, we've had some pretty notable acts back in the. It really started with Super Bowl 20. I'm looking at the history of the. Look at the history of the Super Bowl halftime shows, and it wasn't until we had mostly marching bands, up with people, all the way up until around Super Bowl. Looks like Super Bowl 22 with Chubby Checker, the Rockettes, and the couple of marching bands there. We had an Elvis Presley tribute in following Super Bowl, but it wasn't until Super Bowl 25 we had New Kids on the Block. They play Super Bowl 25.
Oh man.
Super Bowl 26 was the salute to the Winter Olympics with Gloria Estefan, Brian Boitano, and Dorothy Hamill, and members of the 1980 U.S. Olympic hockey team.
Oh man, Mike Eruzione was out there strutting his stuff to the sound machine.
Oy vey. I'm telling you all about how he scored the game-winning goal against against the Soviets. But here's where this was the breaking point right here when it started to get really over the top with Super Bowl halftime shows. Super Bowl 27, Michael Jackson.
Oh man.
Which was, to me, it still sticks out in my mind as one of the greatest halftime shows ever.
He's, you know, that's one of the classic cases. I've talked about it on the show before. You separate the art from the artist. I will put Michael Jackson's music out there against anybody's. We've talked about it with Playmaker. He loves MJ. We've had conversations about it.
Yep. I mean, as for me with the Super Bowl halftime show, I mean, yeah, you mentioned it, Dustin. I'll basically repeat it. It just felt like it was a chance for Kendrick Lamar to bury Drake. I mean, congratulations to him, I guess. Hats off to you.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it was just it was all right, I guess. I mean, there was some symbolism in there that was kind of hidden. That was kind of like a little transgressive to me. But I'm not going to get my high horse or my soapbox and really talk about it. People like what they like. I get it. This wasn't my thing. But I will say this. And to your point about bringing back the variety of the halftime show, we need a rock band next year.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't really had one since Coldplay, but I don't really consider them a rock band.
No,
they're pop.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, truly the last time we had a rock band play at a Super Bowl halftime show was Super Bowl 44. And that was when the Who played. That was the Colts Saints Super Bowl, I believe.
Oh, okay.
The Who played the halftime show. Before that, we had Bruce Springsteen. Before that, we had Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, Prince, Rolling Stones, Paul McCartney. Never forget the wardrobe malfunction.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Can't forget that.
Yeah, that changed TV forever. Live TV forever is still impacted by that.
Yeah, it still has an impact on everybody's brain. Everybody knew where they were when that happened. Yeah. But I gotta say, next year, I proposed 2 artists, 2 acts for next year. The Super Bowl is gonna be in Santa Clara. It's gonna be in the Bay Area, a little bit north of the San Francisco Bay Area. I have 2 artists in mind. The first one is Metallica, because they're from the Bay Area. I know at least one of the guys, I think James Hetfield, he lives in Colorado now. But they're still touring. They're still in their 60s. They've been around for almost 50 years, and they're still touring. So that's one artist. And the other artist, go throw it out there. People are gonna laugh, but they'll get it once I say it. Creed.
All right, I know why you're saying that.
We need a Creed halftime show, and I'll tell you why. Because we got to throw it back to that Thanksgiving Day performance in 2001 at the Dallas Cowboys game. I remember where I was for that performance. I was at my parents' house. My grandparents were there. We were sitting at the dinner table watching the game. I think that year was the Giants and the Cowboys, if I'm not mistaken. They played on Thanksgiving Day. Then Creed came out. That was when they started to have halftime shows for Thanksgiving Day games.
Yep.
And Creed comes out, and they had one of the. I mean, I've seen them twice in concert. They're phenomenal. They're pretty good. They're a very good live band. But to see them on a national stage, playing higher, you see Scott Stapp running around with a Cowboys jersey on.
Yeah.
Mark Tremonti just rocking it out.
Mark Tremonti, great guitar player.
Awesome guitar player. One of my favorite guitar players. Alter Bridge, underrated band. But yeah, I mean, those are two acts. Your Uncle Al suggesting Santana. I wouldn't be mad at that.
Which, ironically, both Santana and Mark Tremonti play Paul Reed Smith. And Uncle Al, for everybody out there watching. He plays as well.
Yeah. All right, before we go to our last segment in the comments section, your Uncle Al saying, unfortunately, I remember Super Bowl 35 because the Ravens smoked the Giants. Yep.
Yeah,
no offensive touchdown scored no touchdown scored on offense by the Giants. Their only points came on a kick return. And then the Ravens turned around and kicked off that kick return back and returned that kickoff back to the.
So nobody was beating the Ravens that year, though.
Nobody was beating the Ravens that year.
That defense is ridiculous. And here we go. I want your thoughts as a Giants fan, Uncle Al, because I always I was a younger football fan at this point, but I always kind of liked Jim Fossil. I thought he did a good job. I liked him as a coach.
Yeah. After the Super Bowl, it was just kind of.
Yeah, that hurt him.
Julie says, whoa, Dustin's middle age? That's the real breaking news of the night. I did not see that coming. Where's that bumper? Where's that stinger?
The breaking news bumper.
This just in, Dustin's middle age.
Well, thank you for that compliment, I guess. I mean, I think part of it is, though, I cannot grow a beard. It's not because I do not want to, but I cannot. If I try, it goes bad. Unlike Ryan, who can pull off the beard, I cannot pull off the beard.
I can't pull off the hair. That's what it is for me. Julie says, I didn't hate it. I just could not follow it, so I slept. And Uncle Al saying, I'm old, and I don't understand why some people are hating on it. Regarding the Kendrick Lamar halftime show. It was just on in the background. I did my Duolingo lesson. Everybody doesn't like everything,
Yep.
He also answered you. He's a good coach, but the polar opposite of Tom Coughlin. Talking about Jim Fossil.
Tom Coughlin brought the discipline back to that team for sure.
Yeah, he had that one shining moment during the 2000 season when he said, I'm all in. We're putting our chips to the table. Like a month before the season ended, putting all our chips to the table and we're all in. And they got as far as the NFC Championship and they absolutely beat the brakes off the Vikings 41-0. I remember that NFC Championship. And then the next week they are absolutely smoked.
Yeah.
By the Ravens.
The Ravens got them. We gotta, you know what? We gotta come up with a list. Maybe this one might be esoteric, but like some of the best football coaches' speeches that we remember from the clips in the locker room. Because the one I remember, and it's gonna shock nobody, but Mike Holmgren, who unfortunately did not get into the Hall of Fame this year, from what I've seen, the year that the Seahawks went to the Super Bowl, and I'm still gonna say they should have won that game in 2006, they got robbed. But he said, I told you at the beginning of the game that we were going to win. we were going to win our division and nobody was going to talk about us. And he said, I told you at the beginning of the season that we were going to win more than 12 games and still nobody was going to talk about us. And then he said a third thing that I can't remember. And he said, but now we're going to the Super Bowl and they have to talk about us. That was a good speech by one Mike Holmgren. I remember that one.
Well, I'm gonna be a homer here. Where is that element? Where is it? Where is it? Did I put it in here? No, I didn't. Dang it. Well, homer alert.
Woohoo! That was a different Homer.
The different homer. Herm Edwards. Hello, you play to
Oh,
win
man.
the game.
That's a classic one. Everyone knows that.
Everybody knows that. Come on. All right, before we wrap up this edition of No Credentials Required, our favorite athletes. This is show number 12 of 2025 already. And we're going through a list of our favorite athletes to wear the specific number of the episode that we are recording. And today is episode 12. So therefore, it's our favorite athletes who ever wear the number 12. I didn't put mine in the rundown because I wanted to keep it a surprise.
Yeah,
I'm
I
pretty
didn't
sure
put mine
Dustin
in
did
there
too. But I'm gonna lead it off with you, Dustin. Who is your favorite athlete that you've watched in your time watching sports?
Man,
Everywhere, the number 12.
there's a lot of choices for this one. As I was going back through, I always, because this one, and one of my favorite moments in the early history of doing this on the show was me absolutely shocking you with my pick for number 10 of Sean Horkoff. But I for this one, I didn't have an athlete that popped out to me like immediately. And so I started going back through the Rolodex, and sorry, folks, it's not going to be Tom Brady. Okay. But I'm going back through the Rolodex, and I thought long and hard about Adam Oates. Adam Oates, longtime hockey player, great hockey player. But then there was one pick, and the more I started to think about it over the last couple days, I'm like, you know what? I think he's my guy. I am going a quarterback, but it's number 12, Andrew Luck for the Indianapolis Colts. Andrew Luck.
Sucked for luck.
Yes. He was one of he lived up to the talent and everything that everyone was foisting upon him. Peyton Manning's last season in Indy was not good. I think they went 2-14 or something crazy like that.
That was the year he was out with the neck surgery.
Yes, he had the neck surgery, and they had I think his backup there was Jim Sorgi coming in and playing. It wasn't pretty. But Andrew Luck was picked by the Colts, and he immediately started turning them around. And to me, when I think back on Andrew Luck, I think of a couple of things. One, to my memory, he was tough as nails because he got hit a lot when he was in his time with the Colts. He missed the entire, I think it was 2016 season with an injury, which, I mean, this just makes his stats all the more mind-blowing. There's a couple things I want to hit here too, and this is per NFL.com. But top 5 in NFL history in passing touchdowns and passing yards in a player's first 6 seasons in the NFL. He was behind Dan Marino. He had 171 touchdowns. Marino had 196. Marino's in the Hall of Fame. Andrew Luck was 3rd in yards behind Peyton Manning and Dan Marino with 23,671 yards in his first 6 seasons in the NFL. And he could also move with his legs a little bit, which I think people forgot about. But he made the Pro Bowler. He made the Pro Bowl in 2012, 13, 14, and 18. And I think what I miss most about Andrew Luck is I remember the comeback where he led the Colts on this crazy comeback against the Chiefs in, I think it was the AFC wild card that year.
Yes.
That was crazy. That was still one of the craziest football games I've ever watched. I watched it at my friend Dave's apartment, many years ago. But the thing that I think I'll always kind of remember with Andrew Luck is when he retired, it was very clear that he still had a lot left in the tank. And he always, you kind of always wondered if he was going to come back because you felt it was a little bit of that Barry Sanders thing where you're like, wait a minute, this guy retired in his prime. He could still do it. Like, will he come back? And what would he do if he came back? And, how many rumors were there that maybe the Colts, he was going to come out and play for the Colts again, or there was times that supposedly the Dolphins reached out to him, and then people were like, well, he's still under contract for the Colts. They still have his right. So what happened?
You mean one of the 5 quarterbacks that the Miami Dolphins were accused of tampering with?
Yes, I do mean that.
You can tell how much I love the Miami Dolphins.
Yes. Yeah, but the more and more I thought about it, there was so much to like about Andrew Luck. And I kind of wish he got to play a little bit longer, but I understand why he retired. He wanted to still be able to live his life. And he was getting hit a lot behind that Colts offensive line for sure.
Yeah. So I decide while you were on your talk about your favorite number 12, Andrew Luck, I went back to the 2011 Indianapolis Colts season. And on Wikipedia, the Colts had placed their franchise. This is what happened before the season began.
Yeah.
The Colts had placed the franchise tag on Peyton Manning before the season started, but he sat out the entire season due to neck injury. Also, Manning was never placed on injured reserve, but instead was on the Colts inactive list for each game.
Oh, man.
Look, again, this is Wikipedia. So the Colts turned to retired quarterback Kerry Collins and then Curtis Painter, neither of whom could fill Manning's void. You know who the 4th quarterback on that roster was?
Oh, man. Who else?
Dan Orlovsky.
Oh, man. And that's after the gaffe in Detroit, right? That was after that.
That was after his running out of the end zone in Detroit in that 0-16 season that they had. But that season, they lost their first 13 games of that season. They didn't win a game until week 15 against Tennessee. Then they won at Houston and they lost at Jacksonville. They finished 2-14. And that's they drafted Andrew Luck and had a good run with him for a bit. I wish he would have stayed longer, but yeah. I mean, if your quarterback's getting protected and he's getting hit again and again and again, I don't blame him walking off the field after the 2018 season?
Yeah, because I think he only had 6 seasons in the NFL. That was it. And that's the thing. That's why I brought out some of those stats. You wonder what he could have done had he stayed in.
And he is in the College Football Hall of Fame, by the way. So when I go down south in the in April, I'm going to stop by the College Football Hall of Fame again because I've been there once. It was a fun experience. I'm going to go there again. I'm going to see if where his bust is, if there's a bust, if there is one. Although I think it's virtual.
Oh, okay.
Before I reveal my pick for favorite number 12, your Uncle Al saying number 12, Scott Bruner, New York Giants. I'm surprised you didn't say Alfonso Soriano.
I thought about it. He was
not you. I meant your uncle.
Oh, yeah. No, I thought about Alfonso for sure.
Julie saying Casey Mize wears number 12 for the Tigers. He was the first overall pick for the Tigers in 2018. She says, although he was injured this past year, he's been a solid part of the Tigers starting rotation. I believe his MLB debut was one of the highest viewed Tigers games. And your uncle saying hit again and again. I guess that's why David Carr didn't mind holding a clipboard all those years behind Eli. Precisely.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. There's that name again, David Carr.
Yeah, he comes up a lot on the show.
He does. He's probably one of the few names that comes up a lot on this show. That's for sure. All right, my favorite athlete to know at number 12 is number 12 for the Calgary Flames.
Oh, Jerome McGinley.
Yes.
Good pick.
I fell in love with his game early in his career. He was not only a gifted goal scorer, he's a great teammate, but he also knew how to stand up for himself. And he was the guy who like basically put the Flames on his back very early in his career when they weren't very good, and they had that trade, and they made a trade. The Flames made a trade for Joe Nieuwendyk. In that trade was that pick that became Jarome Iginla. And the Flames were weren't very good in the late 90s, but in the early 2000s, you kind of saw something brewing with them.
Yeah.
You saw something brewing with them. They had some very good years with him basically carrying them on his back. They didn't really take the leap until Mika Kipasov became their goaltender. And you see them make that run into the 2004 playoffs all the way to the Stanley Cup final.
Mm-hmm.
And the one thing I remember about Jarome Iginla, like he had one of the last notable fights in the Stanley Cup final. It was Game 3. It was in Calgary. And Calgary was up, I think at that point, they were up pretty big in that game. And he was captain of the team at the time. Well, he and Lightning captain Vincent Lecavalier got into a little bit of a shoving match, and all of a sudden just turns into a fight. I'm going, oh, I love this. I love this. This was back on back on the 4-letter network when Gary Thorne and Bill Clement were the color and play-by-play.
Oh yeah,
and I love that combination. They need to bring them back. Mm-hmm. It's just too bad that Gary Thorne's kind of wrapped up in MASN in Maryland, but he can't bring him back there. But I was like, that's one thing that when the 4-letter network got the NHL back, I was hoping they bring him back too.
Yeah,
which is sad. But for all those years, man, Jarome Iginla, when you would say Calgary Flames, that's the first person you thought of was Jarome Iginla, because he was such a good player on the ice, scoring goals, helping his teammates, sticking up for his teammates, wasn't afraid to get in a fight. He's also one of the more notable power forwards. It's one of the positions that's kind of missing in this era of the NHL is the power forward. The big guy who could not only had size, but could skate like the wind, mm-hmm. and could play physical, but could also score goals and contribute to the team. I believe he's also, for me, being a former chaplain with Hockey Ministries International, like he was a big proponent. He was a big supporter of having a chapel program in the locker room. So I find him, he's one of my favorite players who was not a New Jersey Devil. I gotta find his full name, and this is gonna be
it's gonna take you a minute, huh? Well, and I could just step in while I give you some time here to do that.
I got it, but whatever. Go ahead.
I'm an Oiler fan, and even I rooted for Jarome Iginla. Okay, now people in Edmonton are going to skewer me for that because the Flames are the Oilers' hated rival. But Jarome Iginla was just that good. I rooted in that Cup Finals. I rooted for the Flames because I wanted Canada to win a cup. They haven't won a cup in a very long time.
1993.
But it was mainly because I was rooting for Jarome Iginla, and I'll leave you with this. That finals has one of my favorite calls, and it's by Tampa Bay Lightning, the Tampa Bay Lightning announcer, when he goes, "How you like that, Kippersoft?" after the Lightning score. I think it was their radio guy. That's one of my favorite calls.
I got asked. I did an interview with YouTube creator Trav. Can't remember his last name all of a sudden.
It was a 10 good minutes, right?
10 good minutes with Travis. Can't remember his last name. But he asked me, like one of the first questions he asked me, he says, "All right." No, it was during the interview. Travis Ridgen. That's who it was. He asked me during our conversation. He says, "All right, 2004. Did Martin Gelinas score?" I go, Yeah, he scored. He's like, I knew it. But yeah, so this is Jerome McGinnis' full name. You ready for this, Dustin?
I'm ready.
Jerome Arthur Lee Adekunle Tidge Jr. Elvis Aginla.
Man, I did not know that. Also, what's the Tidge?
It's an African name. His son, whose name is Tidge Aginla, he was drafted by the Utah Hockey Club.
Ah, okay.
I believe he's a member of that team right now, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, we'll have to ask our good friend of the show, Kevin Wilson, about that.
But he spells it Tij. So he was drafted by the Utah Hockey Club. He currently plays in Kelowna for the Rockets. Looks like he was returned to the junior team, but just as big as his dad. 6 foot. He's 6 foot, which is his dad's height. Who's 6'1". He was 6'1". So, but yeah, Tidge Aginla, drafted by the Utah Hockey Club. I don't know if he'll wear number 12, but he does not wear number 12 for the Kelowna Rockets. He wears number 11.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so fun fact there. But he was drafted 6th overall in this year's entry draft in the NHL. So very cool to see yet another second generation NHLer play in the NHL. We've seen a lot of them come and go. The Kachuk brothers we know about. Mike Sillinger's kid plays in the Corey Sillinger, I think his name is Corey.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, he plays in the NHL. Got a lot of second generation NHL players out there, which is cool. Which, by the way, tomorrow the Four Nations face-off begins, which I'm pretty excited about. So we'll check that out between the U.S., Canada, Sweden, and Finland, kind of replacing the All-Star break, which is pretty cool. So as a warm-up to the Olympics, because the NHL is going back to the Olympics next year in Milan. So pretty
excited
cool
about
there.
that. Love the Winter Olympics.
Yeah. Your Uncle Al will conclude here with the comments. Uncle Al saying David Carr has 2 rings. He does. And he also
we gotta have like a bell every time David Carr is brought up.
I know.
No, we'll do a car revving. That's what we'll do.
Oh my God. I'll have to find a sound effect now. And he also says great memories of Thorne and Clement. Yeah, absolutely. All right, y'all. We're going to get out of here. Show announcement, by the way. Our friend Drew Willingham will be with us on Saturday for our 250th rendition of this podcast, which is crazy.
Man.
And we're going to take a small break next week. No shows next week. So no shows on Tuesday or on Saturday. Kind of want to refuel before we get into the other sports. Baseball's coming soon. Arena football starting up again. Arena football 1 starts in March, so we get the Firebirds who are going to be coming back, which is cool. So I'll be there at the arena recapping the games. I might start covering the Firewolves again because now they're 2-7. They got a bye week this week. They're 2-7 currently. So but they also have the smallest of the teams under 500 right now. That's the smallest goal margin. So, but I think I know why they're 2-7 right now. Good old Ryan hasn't been the arena yet this year.
That's right. You can turn it around, Ryan. That's
right.
Only you can turn the Firewolf season around.
Got to turn the speed around, baby. But yeah, we're with some coverage other than football coming in the spring. We're gonna do some baseball coverage, but we talked about this in the green room a little bit, but we'll talk about more before the season begins. We're going to cover exclusively Yankees content. We're going to try to focus in on the Yankees more as opposed to all of Major League Baseball. But we are also going to bring back the baseball challenge, the individual baseball player challenge. 2 years ago, we had the Battle of the Bryans. Last year, we had the Mendoza backstop challenge. So if you got any ideas for player challenges this year, drop them in the comments. Leave them in the description. Put up there in social media. So give us an idea. We'll do a challenge for that. And with Alexander Ovechkin slowly approaching Wayne Gretzky's all-time goal scoring record, we may have a contest for a giveaway in the works as we go closer to that goal, as we go closer to that record. So stay tuned. We're going to work things out as to what we're going to give away. But stay tuned to No Credentials Required for more details. So get some plenty of stuff coming down the pike. We're going to iron out those details next week as we get closer. As we get, we'll take a small break just to recharge our batteries after football season ended, and we're going to come back and we'll give you more details about that giveaway. So, in the meantime, please give us a follow on social media: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. Just search No Credentials Required. Give us a follow there, and also follow other content, including other podcasts and written content on bellyupsports.com. On the podcast side, you can subscribe to the podcast wherever you find podcasts, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Spreaker, Amazon Music, iHeart, TuneIn, Pandora, and now YouTube. And don't forget to get notified on YouTube and on Twitter. Still refuse to call it X. That way you know when there's show announcements, there's new videos, there's new shorts. Got some shorts content. We're going to continue that as we're on a little bit of a break, but we're still going to put out some content just to kind of, it won't be live, but it might be pre-recorded. We'll see. We'll iron out those details. Also, if you're watching on the Belly Up YouTube channel, feel free to comment. Feel free to give us a like. Feel free to comment, because that's what drives the algorithm, folks. You see it in the live chat and during the show. Rate and review and comment. Leave us a 5-star rating. Leave us a review on a platform if you're on, or if you're listening on Spotify, you can leave us a comment. Uncle Al saying, "We were on a break." Thank you, David Schwimmer. But yes, rate, review, comment, leave us a rating, leave us a review. If you're on a platform, you can do that. Or if you're on Spotify, leave us a comment. We'll be back here on Saturday morning with our friend Drew Willingham. Just talk about some random stuff, football content, maybe some other sports content, maybe some wrestling. By the way,
Perhaps.
Dustin, I found out WWE's coming, SmackDown's coming to MVP Arena Friday, May 31st.
Oh, man.
Hopefully John Cena's there. If he's there,
Man, I've never been to an event. Is this the
come
time?
on, really?
Is this the time? Yeah, I've never
Yes.
been, man.
Yes, it is certainly the time.
I've never been, and I don't watch current product, but I would make an exception for this just to experience it.
Yes, absolutely. But in the meantime, thank you once again for joining us on No Credentials Required, where you don't need a press pass to talk sports. We are proudly presented by Belly Up Sports. For Dustin Henry, I'm Ryan McCarthy. We'll be back on Saturday morning, 10 a.m. Eastern, with special guest Drew Willingham. Until then, have a great night, and we'll see you Saturday.
Sorry for the shade, Jim Shorgy. I know you're a big fan. I know you're watching. I didn't mean to imply that you started all those games for the Colts. Good night, everybody.